I'll start with just a sort of big picture about what we actually mean. This service is called Love Clean Streets, and at its simplest level, it just allows people, your citizens, your employees, your contractors, your partners to report environmental crime using your mobile phone, using smartphones, using any mobile with SMS or using the website. Push that up into our cloud service, which then has back-end automation which could integrate into other services or could be used with our web admin panel to get the job and report back to the user, to the citizen, to let them know the status of that particular report. So just sort of run through some benefits that we've seen. These are from some real sort of case studies that authorities have got, benefits they've got from using this service. Increased performance in terms of graffiti. This is from Lewisham, and we've had this service running with Lewisham under other names called Love Lewisham back since 2005 when it was traditionally hosted, and we moved it to Azure last year. But the sort of performance we've got from the use of this is fairly clear to see. So better graffiti performance, better removal times on graffiti, improved fly tip removal times. We also see, through use of this technology, some really interesting costs in terms of transaction. So this is, again, through Love Lewisham, through Lewisham's own data. They found that when they were accepting reports from the citizens on the phone, the actual process was costing them £5.10 to actually process that and get the work sort of started. The web form was £4.10, so just going onto a website and filling in a form was still quite costly. One of the reasons for that, for this particular type of service, is if you fill in a web form, it's at the end of your street and you've got a fly tip at the end of your street, you're probably likely to exaggerate that a little bit and maybe say it's been there longer than it, it actually has been. And so it was often needed to have a pre-inspection to go out to determine what work needs to be done before you can actually do it. With our service, the user takes the phone, they take a picture, they get the location automatically captured. We've got enough data to not need that pre-inspection. So it's a much more efficient way to deal with the work. So £1.50 was the sort of cost that Lewisham came up with. Obviously, your mileage might vary depending on your processes internally. Just another sort of slide. Resident satisfaction has also been very good with this service. So we've been able to make this available to the public. A lot of people who might have been quite vocally negative towards an authority before have often been turned around in this, with this particular service, often challenging it. I'll just download the Love Lewisham or the Love Clean Streets app, I'm going to see if they can really deal with this. And so they go out and take some pictures and then wait for the response. Often it's quite easy to track those reports coming in and deal with it and produce good results. So they see good figures on resident satisfaction are generally improving with the service. So just to run through how this actually works, just sort of visual walkthrough. We've got a suite of mobile apps. This is the Windows Phone 7 application. Emphasis really on simplicity. Our target audience here is not a geek or somebody who's into technology. It's really the mum on the house run, on the school run, who comes to the school, sees something outside the school gates and wants to report that. That's quite an effort for that person to actually take a picture, go back to home and then upload that. They're going to be pretty committed to make that. With our application, we're saying 40 seconds is all you need to be able to take and send and report that issue. So it should be, we're trying to get it into the psyche of everybody that they can do this. So it's very simple. Take a picture, put in a description. We've got some categories there that the authorities can customize. The location is automatically detected, or you can type in a location and we click send and it's done. And so that gets sent up to our API, which is sitting in Azure, and then gets entered into whatever workflow is configured for that authority. Users can, on the device, also get a report of information, all the reports that they've posted and the current status. And they can be updated in lots of ways as well. Range of applications, so we've got Windows Phone 7, we've also got BlackBerry, we've got iPhone, we've got Android. We also support just sending texts and picture messages up to the service. We have websites. This is the sort of generic Love Clean Streets one, but we can brand it for each authority. And users can go on there, can view the reports. So with all this information, once it's been moderated, it can become publicly available. They can like it. They can Facebook, like it on Facebook. They can tweet about it. So we've got that social integration. They can search for these reports in a variety of ways. They can subscribe to the results of that search. So, you know, a councillor who's particularly interested in a particular ward and a particular type of graffiti that's not been resolved yet can subscribe to that and just be notified through an RSS feed. Or they can also configure their accounts for emails and text notifications as well. We use a live map, Silverlight live map, to give a sort of nice geographical overview of all of these reports that are coming in. And we also use a pivot viewer. I'm hoping to just try and quickly demo that. A bit awkward with where the projector is. So here we go, the pivot view. Can you see that okay? So this is showing us all of the data that's coming in to the service across our Love Clean Streets network. So for example, I could go here and pick out a couple of authorities. And then I might be interested in seeing that against category. So it gives us a very sort of visual, graphic analysis of this data. I can sort of drill into some of these categories here. And then I could drill into individual items. And as we go into here, this is a slowish connection, but you can start to see the image becoming more focused. It's actually quite a lot of data that we process here every night. And we use, this happens on Azure, and it takes almost 20 minutes to actually slice up all of these images in a way that's available for this Silverlight deep zoomy type thing, if you're familiar with that sort of technology. And then we publish it each day. Okay. Hello? We support authentication for the user's point of view just with a site, an email and password that they can create on our site and use across the whole Love Clean Streets network. So we've sort of got that information across all of our sites. Or we can use open authentication. And we could also do some of the things that Jamie was talking about in terms of federating authentication from your private network into ours. So internally, if your employees need to be able to log in here or use the admin panel that we have, then rather than having a sign in separately for that, we can federate that from the Windows Active Directory. We also support adding reports on the website. Our API is also all in Azure. And so we have this open API, and we also have a richer API that allows people to integrate into this. So people are using the API just to be able to pull out their own ad hoc reports. They're using it to be able to build a little panel on their own website to show those reports, or allow other sorts of applications that they've already got on mobile phones to still integrate into the Love Clean Streets service. It's a REST-based API, simple to use, supports any sort of technology you want to use to work with it. And we also have a basic admin panel, which I'll go through fairly quickly, that authorities can use to start managing this service. And one of the advantages of that is that we can deliver this extremely quickly. So, for example, Medway just purchased this 3 weeks ago, and now it's live. And so we can deliver this extremely quickly. Everything's hosted in the cloud. Nobody really needs to be involved in terms of the internal IT initially, and we can provide this web-based admin panel so people can manage these reports. We also expose the data as OData. So that same data available on the API is also available through an OData endpoint. That will be moved on to the data market in the UK when that's available. But at the moment, we just expose our own OData endpoint. So you can use tools like Microsoft Power Pivot and SharePoint Power Pivot tools you can add in to pull this data around and analyze that. Yeah? Sorry? Oh, I thought, why is he asking a question? So I'm sure I've told him all about this before. And we do in back-end integration as well. So we've got integration into Dynamics CRM, we've got integration into Pitney Bowes Insight Confirm system, into Veolia environment system, and other systems that we can integrate into. And so part of that will be the using Azure Connect. So we're looking at that to provide secure connections between on-premise and the cloud to allow those things to connect. And Connect's really just like a VPN for Azure is the way I sort of saw that, but it's a very simple way compared to some other alternatives to be able to provide that secure connection between the two sites. I'll skip through that. So Architecturally, it sort of looks like that. You know, it's all in the cloud. We use SQL Azure. We're going to have the data market. It's an ASP.NET application. We're using WCF for our service. MVC is the website that it was written on. Was it hard to move to Azure? Not really. You know, this was traditionally hosted previously. There were some changes you need to be aware of, and some things we needed to wait for. For example, spatial queries weren't available in SQL Azure initially, but it became available later on. There's a few little development points, but generally it's a pretty easy move to move a traditionally hosted sort of .NET application up into the cloud. And actually now gives us a much better performance, and it's much more robust and much more efficient in terms of cost for us as well, for this sort of application that we've got. And we've got it in lots of places. So you can see we brand this in lots of different ways. So people like Leicester, Oldham, Lewisham, etc. All have a version of this site available. And we launched the Love Clean London version with Boris Johnson doing that launch just a few weeks ago. And of course, that was a good example for Azure because with that increased publicity and attention, we needed to be wary about how our service would respond to that. But it's trivial to go in and just add a few more instances or 10 more instances to your service, so you've got a pretty big server farm able to deal with that demand, and that wasn't an issue at all. And then, of course, just take them down again when the demand starts to drop. And that can be done automatically as well. Okay, so at that point, I'll leave that. Thank you very much.